In the United States, over 45% of adults aged 60 and older suffer from reduced muscle strength and thinning bones. That number grows each year, quietly stealing independence from the ability to walk without pain to standing tall without effort. But here in Japan, I often sit by the window and watch my neighbors in their 70s and 80s sweeping their gardens, carrying groceries, even kneeling down for tea with ease. We are not special. We simply eat differently. My name is Sachiko. I'm 84 years old, and for over 6 decades I've eaten a kind of fish that is small, inexpensive, and often overlooked, but has 3 times more natural collagen than salmon. It helped keep my knees strong, my skin soft, and my mornings pain-free. Today I want to share that fish with you, not just the name, but how we prepare it, how we eat it, and why it works so well after 60. Before we begin, I'd love to know, where are you watching this from and what time is it for you right now? Please let me know in the comments below. I truly look forward to reading them. And don't forget to subscribe so you won't miss what's coming next. The morning routine. That never changed. I still remember the smell of the sea when I was a girl in Okinawa. Every morning, just as the sun began to stretch across the rooftops, my grandmother would walk to the market with a woven basket in hand. The stalls were filled with bright vegetables, bowls of fermented pickles, and rows of glistening fish packed on ice. But she always chose the same thing, saba. Back then, I didn't understand why she ignored the big pink slices of tuna or the thick cuts of salmon. She would smile at the fishmonger, choose 2 small saba, one for breakfast, one for dinner, and walk home humming an old song. Now at 84, I do the same. I prepare it simply grilled over a small flame with just a touch of salt, or gently simmered with miso and ginger. It is not a luxury meal. It's humble, oily, and full of tiny bones. But it has kept my body strong when others around me have grown weak. I watched friends my age begin to shrink, not in spirit, but in their bodies. Their legs grew thin, their backs curved, many began to fall, but I still walk to the market on my own. I still kneel down on the tatami mat for tea, and I rise without help. My doctor says I have the joints of a woman 20 years younger. I say it's the fish. You see, saba isn't just food to me. It is memory. It is family. It is a practice passed from my grandmother to my mother, from my mother to me. And in that small act of eating the same fish each morning, I have received something far greater than just nourishment. In America, people often change what they eat each week. Variety is a good thing, yes, but sometimes consistency is medicine. When I visited my niece in California last year, I saw salmon in every market, but I also saw pain on the faces of many elders. They moved slowly. They were cautious with their steps. I wanted to whisper to them, "There is another fish, smaller, simpler, but stronger." Saba doesn't just feed the stomach. It feeds the skin, the bones, the muscles. It carries warmth to the joints and calm to the mind. It has carried me through grief, through storms, through lonely winters, and into the peaceful strength I feel now. If you are listening to this and wondering whether something so small could make a difference, I understand. I asked the same question once, but sometimes the answer is not in the pill bottle or the clinic. Sometimes it's on a small plate, steaming gently beside a bowl of rice, waiting for you to remember what your body truly needs. The fish on your table. Why the Japanese choose differently. 600 words. When I visited my niece in Los Angeles, I was surprised by how many people ate salmon. At the grocery store, it was the first fish in the display, thick bright orange wrapped neatly in plastic. It looked beautiful, I must admit. In Japan, we see salmon more as a treat than a daily choice. But in America, it seems to be the go-to fish, especially for those trying to eat healthy. Still, I couldn't help but ask, is it truly the best fish for aging bodies? Salmon is rich in omega-3, yes. But it is also dense, sometimes hard to digest, and often farm-raised with added color to make it look fresh. When I eat it, I feel full, but not always light. It sits in the stomach in a way that makes me want to rest, not move. In Japan, we tend to choose fish that support both digestion and motion, like saba. Saba, or mackerel, as you may know, it is small, humble, and full of oil, but not the heavy kind. It's rich in natural collagen, especially types I and the 3, which the body uses to support skin elasticity, joint comfort, and muscle repair. That's why after 60, this fish becomes more than just food, it becomes medicine. A study from Kyoto University found that people over 65 who consumed collagen-rich fish like saba at least 3 times per week showed less joint stiffness and better walking ability over 12 months. That may sound small, but when you're aging, being able to walk across the room without pain is not a small thing. It is freedom. Another difference I noticed is how Americans often eat fish in large portions. A thick fillet grilled or fried, maybe with a side of potatoes. In Japan, we eat fish as part of a balanced plate, just a few bites of saba next to rice pickled vegetables and a bowl of miso soup. This combination makes a difference. The fermented foods help digestion, and the miso enhances the absorption of nutrients from the fish. It's a harmony, not just a meal. Sometimes it's not about eating more of something. It's about eating it the way your body can use it. I also found that in America, many older adults take collagen powders or supplements. I understand why it's convenient. But your body often doesn't absorb those artificial forms the way it does from natural food. Saba offers collagen that is already ready for your body. No mixing, no pills, no guessing. And let me say this gently, sometimes we confuse luxury with health. Salmon looks fancy. Saba does not. But my grandmother used to say, "The strong things hide in plain food." I believe her more with each passing year. So if you've been choosing salmon out of habit, or because someone told you it was best, perhaps it's time to consider a different path. One that has served generations of Japanese elders who still walk, still stretch, still live with dignity and calm in their aging years. Saba, the collagen-rich superfish. After 60. When I turned 60, my body began to whisper. It started with small things. My knees didn't bend as easily. My back ached after sweeping the porch. My skin, once smooth, became thinner like delicate rice paper. I thought, this is normal. This is aging. But my grandmother's voice echoed in my heart. Eat your saba, child. It keeps you whole. I didn't know the science back then. I only knew that after a meal of saba, I always felt warm, steady, and calm. Years later, I learned why. Saba is not just rich in protein, it is one of the most concentrated natural sources of type I and type 3 collagen, the very building blocks of skin joints and muscles. While salmon offers some collagen, saba contains nearly 3 times more per ounce, especially when you eat it cooked gently with the skin on and bones simmered into the broth. Type Y collagen supports the firmness of your skin and strength of your tendons. Type 3, often called the reticular collagen, is essential for flexibility. It supports blood vessels, internal organs, and the stretch between muscles and joints. After age 60, your natural production of these types drops sharply. That's when we begin to sag, stoop, or stiffen. But when you eat saba regularly, you're not just slowing down this loss, you're rebuilding from within. There's something else hidden in this humble fish, coenzyme Q10 CoQ10. Many people take it as a supplement for heart health, but Saba provides it naturally in a form your body can absorb more easily. CoQ10 helps your cells produce energy, something we often lack in older age. I didn't know the name of this nutrient for most of my life, but I felt its power. After eating Saba, my walks were longer, my breathing felt deeper, my mind was clearer. There's a saying in Japan, "Fish oils make soft hands and strong hearts." Now I know why. Let me tell you about Mr. Tanaka, a man from my neighborhood. He's 75 now. Every morning at 6:30, I see him walking the narrow stone path near the river with a bamboo cane, not because he needs it, but because it belonged to his father, and he honors him with each step. Mr. Tanaka lost his wife 10 years ago. After that, he became quiet, withdrawn. He stopped gardening. He stopped laughing. Then one day he told me, "Sachiko-san, I started eating Saba again, like when we were young." I smiled. 3 months later, I saw him pruning the plum tree in his yard. He waved. He looked 10 years younger. That's the gift of Saba. It's not a miracle food, it's a memory food, one that gently reminds the body of its own strength. And yet it's still overlooked. Perhaps because it isn't glamorous. Perhaps because it smells stronger when it cooks. But that's part of its charm. It's real. It's unfiltered. It reminds you of the ocean of childhood, of things that mattered before everything became so complicated. In the West, many people look for health in powders, pills, or promises. In Japan, we look for it in patterns, in small things done every day. Eating Saba isn't just a recipe. It's a rhythm, a quiet daily gift to yourself. And if you're wondering whether you can try this, even if you live far from Japan, the answer is yes. You can find Saba in many Asian markets, often frozen or canned in water or miso. Just a few bites a few times a week could begin to soften your skin, ease your steps, and lift your spirit. Cooking Saba the Japanese way, keeping collagen alive. In my kitchen, the tools are simple: an old clay pot, a cast iron grill, a bamboo steamer. They are not fancy, but they have fed generations. That's the way of Japanese cooking, not to impress, but to nourish. When it comes to Saba, we treat it with respect. You see, collagen is delicate. If you fry the fish in high heat or overcook it until it dries out, you lose what makes it precious. The oils turn bitter. The collagen breaks down. But if you cook it gently with care, it rewards you. Most mornings, I prepare Saba by grilling it over a low flame, skin side down first. The skin bubbles slightly, turning golden crisp, but inside the fish stays moist. That skin is where much of the collagen lives, so we never remove it. We eat it slowly, bite by bite, savoring the crispness and the warmth. Sometimes when the weather is cold, I make Saba misoni, Saba simmered in miso. I place the fish in a pot with ginger slices, a little sake soy sauce, and miso paste. I let it simmer until the broth thickens and the bones soften. When it's done, the collagen has seeped into the broth, turning it slightly sticky, deeply flavorful. My grandchildren love it with a bowl of warm rice, and I love watching them slurp the last drops of broth because I know they're feeding not just their bellies, but their future joints, skin, and hearts. On warmer days, I steam the Saba with grated daikon and a touch of yuzu peel. The steam keeps the fish soft and gentle, easy to chew even for old teeth like mine, and the daikon helps digestion. It's cooling, cleansing, and balances the rich oil of the fish. But cooking is only half the story. How we eat matters just as much. In Japan, we follow a quiet philosophy called shokuiku. It means food education, but it is more than that. It is the art of understanding how food affects your body, your mood, your life. We don't eat while rushing. We sit. We breathe. We notice the smell of the steam, the color of the miso, the sound of chopsticks tapping a bowl. Eating saba is a ritual of slowing down, of giving thanks. And somehow, when you eat with awareness, your body listens. It absorbs more. It heals more deeply. I remember my mother would always say before meals, "Itadakimasu," I humbly receive. Not just the food, but the effort behind it, the life of the fish, the love in the cooking. That spirit, I believe, adds to the nourishment. Western science now agrees. Studies show that mindful eating improves digestion and nutrient absorption, especially in older adults. When you are calm and present, your stomach produces more enzymes. Your body uses the collagen more efficiently. Even your heart rate lowers. Isn't that beautiful? Some people ask me, "Sachiko-san, do you take collagen powder?" I smile and shake my head. Why take powder, I say, when you can eat soup? And truly, saba, when prepared, gently offers everything your body asks for after 60 natural protein. Essential fats, rich collagen, and comfort. It is soft on the joints, easy on the teeth. And when eaten with miso daikon, or fermented vegetables, it becomes even more healing. You don't need a Japanese kitchen to do this. You can broil saba in an oven, simmer it in a small pot. Use canned saba in miso and add grated ginger. Even that is enough to begin. The key is not perfection. The key is rhythm. Because what keeps us strong is not one powerful meal. It's 100 quiet ones. 4 weeks. 4 changes. How saba transforms the body. After 60. They say change comes slowly with age, but sometimes it surprises you. I remember one winter when my joints ached more than usual, and I couldn't sleep well through the night. My granddaughter noticed I was moving slower, wincing when I bent to pour tea. She asked, "Grandma, are you okay?" I didn't want to worry her, so I simply returned to what I knew saba prepared, gently eaten daily with a warm bowl of miso and rice. I made a quiet promise to myself, no skipping, no rushing. Just 4 weeks of real food eaten with care. By the second week, something changed. My skin began to soften. Not in a dramatic way, but when I washed my face in the morning, it felt less dry. The tiny cracks near my eyes weren't as deep. The thin skin on my hands, where age shows most, felt less papery. Saba's collagen was doing its work quietly, layer by layer from within. By the 3rd week, my mornings felt different. I didn't dread standing up from bed. The usual stiffness in my knees and ankles was less sharp. I could walk out into the garden and kneel to trim the bonsai without feeling like my body was resisting. I thought to myself, this is how I used to move. There is a kind of joy in small movements when you are older. To step without fear, to reach without a wince. These are victories we don't celebrate enough. Sleep returned next. Before I would wake up at 2 or 3 a.m., unable to fall back asleep. My legs felt restless, my mind unsettled. But by week 4, my nights were fuller. The kind of sleep that feels deep, like being held. I woke refreshed, like my body had repaired itself in the dark. Modern science would tell you this is because saba's omega-3s reduce inflammation balance hormones and support the nervous system. But I only knew that I was waking up with less pain, less worry, and more strength. I wasn't the only one. In our neighborhood, we have a quiet group of elders' widows, mostly like me. We share meals sometimes. I started bringing extra saba misoni, and eventually we all began eating it together on Fridays. One woman, Yuki-san, had arthritis in her fingers. It hurts just to hold chopsticks, she told me. But after a month of our shared lunches, she said she could make her own tea again. I feel warmer, she smiled, like my joints are loosening. Another friend, Hiroshi-san, who had trouble sleeping after his wife passed, told me the miso broth soothed his stomach. I sleep better when I eat with others, he said. I believe it wasn't just the fish, but the ritual, the rhythm, the feeling of being cared for. That's the power of saba. Not just nutrients, but nourishment. After 60, our bodies no longer bounce back the way they used to. But they do respond gently, gradually, if we give them what they truly need, and often what they need isn't a miracle cure. It's something as simple as a warm, oily fish and a quiet place to eat it. So if you've been feeling tired, stiff, or disconnected from your body, I invite you to try. Not forever, not perfectly, just 4 weeks. 4 weeks of honoring your meals, of eating something that has kept generations standing tall, walking strong, and smiling longer. If you can't find saba, simple substitutes and smart choices in the US. 500 words. I know some of you may be wondering, but Sachiko, where do I even find saba in my town? Not everyone lives near a Japanese market, and I understand. When I visited my niece in the US, I saw that even large supermarkets didn't always carry saba. But don't worry. The benefits of this little fish don't vanish just because the name changes. If you can't find saba, look for mackerel, especially Atlantic mackerel or Pacific mackerel. They are often sold frozen or canned, and they share the same rich oils and collagen as Japanese saba. Look for versions that are packed in water or olive oil, with skin on if possible, low in added salt or artificial flavors. Another beautiful option is sardines. These tiny fish are rich in calcium omega-3s, and yes, natural collagen, especially when you eat them with the bones. In fact, sardines are often easier to find in canned form, and just as powerful in supporting joint health and skin elasticity. Herring is another cousin to saba. Slightly milder in flavor, but still oily and full of good fats. I've met older Americans who grew up eating herring with crackers or onions. Perhaps it's time to return to it, but with intention. When buying fish in the US, I suggest choosing wild-caught over farm-raised if you can. Wild fish tend to have higher nutritional value and fewer additives. But if frozen is what you have, that's okay too. Collagen survives freezing quite well as long as the fish is not overly processed. You can also find canned saba, usually in Asian grocery stores or online. Look for miso mackerel or shio saba, salted mackerel. Add a bit of ginger or daikon, warm it gently, and you have a simple healing meal. And don't worry about perfection. It's not about finding the exact same fish I eat in Japan. It's about choosing something close, something oily, nourishing, and prepared with care. Even if it's once or twice a week, that rhythm matters more than any label. Food is memory, but it is also adaptation. So wherever you are in a small town or big city, know this healing doesn't require rare ingredients. It only asks for your attention, your effort, and your kindness to yourself. I never imagined that something as humble as a small, oily fish could carry me through 8 decades of life with strength, softness, and grace. But saba did, and still does. It reminds me that aging is not a slow fading, but a deepening. And sometimes healing begins not with medicine, but with memory, with the quiet ritual of preparing a meal, with a few bites of something warm, honest, and full of life. If there's one thing I hope you take from my story, it's this: your body is still listening. Even now, even after 60, 70, or 80, it still responds to care. It still thanks you for every act of nourishment. So whether you find saba or sardines or something close, begin with one small meal, one thoughtful choice, and see what changes. Thank you for spending this time with me. If you've watched this far, I'd love to hear from you. Where are you watching from? What's one food that brings you comfort? Please share in the comments below. And remember, the health information in this video is not medical advice. Always consult your doctor or healthcare provider. If you believe you need urgent care, please call your local emergency services. Until next time, eat gently, live fully.